I watched him lift the crystal award. My award. He was all smiles. That blindingly white, practiced politician smile. He was thanking the partners, accepting the Innovator of the Year bonus. A check that I knew had 6 figures on it. My stomach wasn't fluttering with anger. It was a cold, hard, heavy knot. Because that innovation, that multi-million-dollar software platform he was being celebrated for, was mine. Every line of code, every late-night insight, every single architectural choice, he had stolen it. Right from my desktop, right from my trust. And as I stood in the back of that sterile conference room, clapping along with everyone else, I watched him laugh that booming laugh, and I didn't get angry. I got patient. He thought he'd won. He thought I was just a quiet little coder he could roll over. He had no idea. He had just started a 2-year countdown to his own public and perfect destruction. If you have ever felt underestimated, betrayed, or dreamed of serving justice so cold it gives you chills, you are in the exact right place. Hit that subscribe button and tap the like, because this isn't just a story. It's a masterclass in patience and payback. Let's call him Mark. To understand how perfect the revenge was, you have to understand Mark. He wasn't just a manager, he was that manager. You know the type. He wore suits that cost more than my rent, had a handshake that felt like a sales pitch, and spoke in a constant stream of corporate buzzwords. Synergy. Leverage. Circle back. He was the kind of guy who never actually created anything. He just facilitated and ideated, and most importantly, took credit. And then there was me. I'm a senior analyst, or I was then. I'm the person who actually builds the things the Marks of the world get to ideate about. I'm quiet. I keep my head down. I'm not great at playing the game. I just like to do good work. My fatal flaw? I was naive. I believed that good work, my good work, would speak for itself. For 6 months, Project Chimera, as I'd codenamed it, was my entire life. It wasn't just some small update. It was a groundbreaking data parsing algorithm. I'd built it in my own time, nights, weekends, fueled by cold pizza and the sheer thrill of solving a puzzle no one else had. This thing, it wasn't just good, it was a goldmine. It could streamline our logistics, saving the company, conservatively, tens of millions in the first year alone. I'd finally ironed out the last bug. I was vibrating with excitement. And because he was my direct superior, I did the right thing. I booked a meeting with Mark. I remember sitting across from his polished mahogany desk. "Mark," I said, my voice probably shaking a little. "I've got something big. I think this could change the game for us." I pulled up the demo. I showed him the architecture. I showed him the projections. He watched me. With this blank, polite interest, he steepled his fingers, nodded slowly. When I was done, breathless and proud, he leaned back in his leather chair. He said, drawing the word out. "Yeah, Sarah, this is neat. Really neat work." My heart sank. "Neat? It's just," he continued, "it's probably a bit too in the weeds for our current infrastructure. Too complex. The partners, they want quick wins, not science projects." He gave me a patronizing smile. "Look, it's a good start. Let me socialize this idea a bit. See if it has legs. Good effort, though. Really." He socialized it all right. 2 months later was the quarterly all-hands meeting. The CEO himself was on stage. "And now," the CEO boomed, "I want to introduce a new company-wide initiative, a platform that is going to revolutionize our entire logistics chain. I'll hand it over to the man who brought this to us, Mark." Mark walked on stage to thunderous applause. And behind him, on the giant projector screen, was my work, my slides, my UI mockups, my architecture diagrams, just with his name at the bottom. My blood didn't just run cold. It evaporated. I couldn't breathe. My hands went numb. I felt dizzy, like the room was tilting. He was just reading my executive summary, word for word. I watched, completely paralyzed as the CEO shook his hand, slapped him on the back, and announced his promotion to director, and a significant bonus for his visionary leadership. That night, I threw up, twice. The next day, I tried to fight it. I was stupid. I was so stupid. I cornered him by the elevators. Mark, that was my project. You know it was. That was Chimera. He turned to me, and the friendly, charismatic mask was gone. His eyes went flat. Cold. You need to be very careful, Sarah, he said, his voice barely a whisper. We all have ideas. That's the easy part. Taking an idea and turning it into a viable business strategy. He tapped his temple. That's leadership. You just don't have it, yet. He patted me on the shoulder. You'll get there someday. Just keep up the good work. The elevator doors opened, and he was gone. I went to HR. It was a complete, humiliating dead end. Do you have an email trail? The HR rep asked, looking bored. Did you document this in the project tracker? No, I admitted, my voice small. I showed it to him on my laptop. I trusted him. The rep just sighed. Well, Sarah, it's your word against a director's. There's really nothing we can do. Your word against a director's. That was the moment. The moment the hot, messy rage died. And something else was born. It was cold. It was hard. It was a diamond forming in my chest. Rage gets you fired. Rage is weak. Patience. Patience is power. He thought I was a pushover. He thought I was a stepping stone. Fine. I would be the quietest, most diligent, most unremarkable analyst in that entire company. And I would wait. I would wait. And I would watch. Mark's first mistake was stealing my project. His second, and fatal mistake, was putting himself in charge of its rollout. See, Mark is a salesman. He's a PowerPoint artist. He doesn't know the first thing about data architecture. And I knew exactly what I had built. I knew its strengths, and I knew its complexities. Mark got his big promotion. He got the corner office. He got the team. And he also got an insane launch deadline from the partners he'd promised the world to. So, I did my job. I just did my regular boring analyst work. I smiled in meetings. I nodded. I became invisible. But every night, I watched. I had admin access to the development servers. He never thought to revoke it. Why would he? I was just Sarah, and I watched as he started cutting corners. My original design had robust, complex, vital security protocols. It had meticulous data handling compliance for GDPR and CCPA, the big European and Californian privacy laws. It was the boring part, but it was the most important part. And Mark? He was ripping it all out. I watched the logs. I saw his project manager's panicked messages. Mark, if we bypass the verification kernel, we won't be compliant. And I saw Mark's reply. Just get it done. We need to show progress now. We'll circle back to the compliance stuff after launch. He was building a beautiful, shiny, multi-million-dollar house on a foundation of gasoline-soaked dynamite. I didn't say a word. I just documented for 2 years. Every log, every chat message, every directive he gave to just push it through. I created a new, anonymous, heavily encrypted email account. And piece by piece, I exported the logs. I took screenshots of his explicit commands. I highlighted the exact sections of the GDPR code he was violating. Fines for this kind of negligence. They wouldn't be in the thousands. They'd be in the tens of millions. Potentially hundreds of millions. I built a perfect airtight digital coffin, and then I just waited for the perfect moment to nail it shut. 2 years after he'd stolen my life's work, the perfect storm arrived. 2 things happened in the exact same week. First, the company was in the final stages of landing its biggest client ever. A massive 9-figure contract with a European banking conglomerate. A conglomerate that, legally, lived and died by GDPR data compliance. Second, our mandatory, annual independent compliance audit was scheduled. The final demo for the new client. And the first day of the audit were scheduled for the same day. Tuesday. On Monday night, at 1:04 a.m., I sat at my home computer. I opened my anonymous email account. I sent 2 emails. The first went to the public inbox for the lead auditor of the independent firm. Subject: urgent, critical non-compliance in my company's Chimera platform. See attached. Attached was the entire digital coffin. Every log, every screenshot, every line of code. The second email was more delicate. It went to the head of technical compliance at the new client, the European bank. Subject: a friendly warning regarding my company's Chimera platform. This one was simpler. Just a summary of the flaw, just enough for them to know exactly what to ask. I hit send, and I went to sleep. The next morning, I wore my favorite blue blouse. I got a coffee. I walked into the main glass conference room. It was packed. Mark was at the front, in a new, absurdly expensive-looking suit. The CEO was there, the COO, and sitting across the table were the 3 stern-looking executives from the European bank. Mark was in full-blown salesman mode. He was glowing. He was laughing. He was pointing at graphs. I just slipped into the back of the room, took a seat, opened my laptop to take notes. Mark got to the big slide. And as you can see, he said, his arms spread wide, our platform is built on a foundation of, I am not making this up, a foundation of state-of-the-art unassailable security. And right at that exact moment, the lead executive from the bank, a sharp woman with 0 patience in her eyes, held up her hand. Her phone had buzzed. She'd looked at it, and her entire face had gone pale with fury. Mr. E. Mark's name, she said, her voice cutting through the room like glass. Stop, just stop talking. Mark's smile froze. The executive looked at our CEO. Mr. CEO's name, I'm afraid we have a serious problem. Can you explain precisely your data handling protocols for EU citizens? Because I'm seeing something that suggests you are in critical violation of GDPR. Mark's face. Oh, it was art. The color just drained away. It was like watching a vampire see the sun. I'm sure that's a misunderstanding, Mark stammered. Our platform is non-compliant, the woman snapped, standing up. And it appears willfully so. And at that exact moment, as if directed by a symphony conductor, the conference room door bursts open. It's the CEO's assistant, and she looks terrified. Sir, she gasps, looking at the CEO. Sir, the auditors are here. They're asking to speak to Mark immediately. She lowered her voice, but the room was so quiet everyone heard it. They said something about gross negligence and critical kernel failure. They said to shut the platform down. Now. It was beautiful. The room just exploded. The CEO's face went from confused to pale to a deep, terrifying shade of purple. The bank executives were already packing their briefcases. This meeting is over, the lead exec said. Consider your proposal rejected. You'll be hearing from our legal team. And they walked. The 9-figure deal, gone, in 10 seconds. All eyes, every single eye, turned to Mark. He was vibrating. He was sweating through his expensive suit. He was opening and closing his mouth like a fish. I can explain. This is a glitch. Mark, the CEO said, his voice so quiet it was a roar. My office, now. And me? I just sat in the back. I didn't smile. I didn't flinch. I just watched. I watched him try to lie. I watched him try to squirm. I watched him try to blame his team. And I just typed up my notes. By 5 p.m., an email went out to the entire company. Mark, last name, is no longer with the company, effective immediately. He wasn't just fired. He was escorted out by security, holding a small cardboard box. He was terminated for cause, his reputation vaporized, and I heard later the company was suing him personally for the damages and the lost contract. He didn't just lose his job. He lost his entire career. The next day, there was an emergency all-hands meeting. The project was a disaster. The platform was offline. The partners were in a panic. The new interim director, a woman I respected, looked at the whole department. "This is a catastrophe," she said. "The entire platform needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. Who even understands this mess? Who can fix it?" The room was silent. And then my quiet, unassuming team lead, who had been with the company for 20 years, raised his hand. He pointed at me. "She can," he said. She wrote the original framework. Before Mark. Every head in the room turned to me. The CEO, who looked like he hadn't slept in 48 hours, stared at me. Really stared at me for the very first time. "Is that true?" he asked. I took a deep breath. I closed my laptop, and I stood up. "Yes," I said, my voice clear and steady. "It is. And can you fix it?" I gave him a small, cold smile. "Yes, and I know exactly what it will take." 3 weeks later, I was in Mark's old office. The one with the big window. I had his title. I had his team, and I had his bonus. The original one he stole, plus the new one, for saving the company from catastrophic failure. I sat in that new leather chair, looked out over the city, and I finally let myself smile. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. They're right. He didn't get fired because I told on him. He got fired because of his own greed, his own arrogance, and his own incompetence. I just made sure the right people were in the room to see it. That was satisfying. If you felt that chill of perfect justice, destroy that like button. It really helps the channel. And let me know in the comments. What's the best long game revenge you've ever heard of? I read all of them. Until next time, stay patient, stay smart, and of course, stay subscribed for more stories just like this.